Are you sure? The question was addressed to the physician in the room, but his gaze was on me, like he was looking for a second, differing opinion. If we're being honest, I'm usually not sure. The amount of information available at our fingertips can be overwhelming. As a first-year medical student, I often struggle to trust myself, but I trust the process of my training. Since starting my preclinical years, my knowledge base has been tested, stretched, and built upon at an exceeding rate. Every other Tuesday, I get to see real patients, practice interview skills, and apply new material through a clinical mentorship program. It is in these encounters that I learn about more than the organ system of the week. It is in these encounters that I witness fear and vulnerability turn into trust. It was also in one of these encounters that I first met Sergio. Sergio was a year younger than me. He was wearing glasses and a hoodie, he had his phone in his hand, and his backpack propped up against the exam room table. We hit it off right away, but I could tell that he was nervous. A week prior, he was helping a neighbor with a construction project when he inhaled some dust and debris. The exposure was brief and limited, but he was nonetheless concerned. He read online that vigorous exercise was the best thing he could do to clear out his lungs following exposure. Not only did it not help, but for the first time in years, it exacerbated his asthma. The next day, he woke up with a new pain in his back, right around where his lung would be. I've been trained to ask patients what they think might be causing their symptoms. You can learn a lot with this question, like their spiritual or cultural beliefs around illness. It can shed light on their past medical history, family history, or prior healthcare experiences. Most importantly, it gives patients a judgment-free space to share their concerns, something they might have heard, something they might have read. When I asked Sergio what he thought was causing his pain, he did not miss a beat. Lung scarring, he told me. He wanted to talk about the potential long-term effects, and if this would lead to a serious disease. As the physician worked through his list of concerns, reassuring him along the way, he'd push back. Yeah, I understand, but he'd circle back to something else he'd read. He had it pulled up on his phone. He could show us. The problem with online information is that it's often out of context. Internet searches identify rare or worst-case scenarios. Misinformation and misinterpretation often go hand in hand, and it's hard to navigate this space alone. Caring for vulnerable patients requires trust, comfort, and thoughtful communication to alleviate the anxiety patients often feel in these scenarios. Teachable moments in clinic are an opportunity for these values to shine. The physician I work with is really good at teachable moments. I've watched her pull up images on her computer to show patients exactly what she's talking about when referring to anatomy. With Sergio, I watched her do what his online searches couldn't. I listened as she connected his medical history and his story to his current symptoms. I followed along as she walked us through her line of thinking. We found out that he's not usually that active, and swinging a hammer in that manner was a new motion for his body. Most importantly, we were able to pinpoint a muscle group that aligned with where he felt the pain. To his visible relief, it was not his lung. We no longer have a strong hold on medical information, but we have the skills of empathy, connection, and context. The ability to assess, interpret, and contextualize signs and symptoms is a gift. For Sergio, it provided the reassurance he desperately needed in that moment. Teachable moments in clinic can build trust for patients and medical students alike. It's moments like these that engage patients in their care and rebuild the foundation of trust and partnership. In 2 weeks, I'll be starting my second year of medical school. It's unlikely that I'll see Sergio again, but this experience has stayed with me as an example of the importance of misinformation and teachable moments. I hope it has stayed with him too.